Hello, welcome to this tutorial today. I am Darlington Gospel and I want to show you some very cool stuff today. Yes, today we want to discuss about Omini-chain deployment. You understand? Omini-chain deployment, the ability to deploy multiple smart contracts, one smart contract, a copy of one smart contract across multiple EVM-compatible blockchain network, and then using one single DApp interface to interact with all of these smart contracts that are on this various blockchain network. That is how cool it is. So it kind of saves you costs, and you don't need to build a different DApp and using a different domain name for each one of them. You just have one DApp that will communicate with all of your smart contracts that are living in, for example, Ethereum mainnet, Polygon, Avalanche, and what have you. So this is what I want to teach you here. Is a very cool skill. Throughout my tutorials, you've been seeing me deploy only on one chain, but today is going to be different. You're going to have this smart contract, this project that I have right now operating in at least three blockchain network. It's going to be on the Sepolia test network, it's going to be on Mumbai test network, and it's also going to be on my local host network, all at the same time. And I will show you how I package all of this thing together in this tutorial. So if you're ready, smash that like and subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and expect to be transformed to a Web3 developer. So before we get into the tutorial, I just want to show you something really quick and simple about DApp mentors and what we're doing here. Yeah. So before we proceed to this tutorial, I want you to take a look at our platform right now. We have a new course that I just recently put on the marketplace. You understand? So you can get this course right now. It's hot. You can get this book as well. This course is going to teach you a whole lot of things. Like the key feature that you can get from this course include things like being able to auction, do NFT auction, features including NFT minting features, royalty payment features, biddable and non-biddable NFT listing, IPFS metadata processing with Node.js, front-end development with React, interface design with Tailwind, smart contract development with Hardhat and Solidity, smart contract testing with Chai assertion framework, smart contract authentication with MetaMask, front-end integration with EtherJS, and so many kind of cool stuff in this one piece of tutorial. So you can get it right now at this cheap or economical cost right here. So get it and flourish yourself. Actually, I'm shooting a new video, a new course right now, and it should be available by the end of next week, hopefully, by the grace of God. So, and that plus this one is going to solidify you, ASAP in how to build these NFT projects, you understand? And then we have this course here, this book, it's really, really going to help you to understand the nitty-gritties of smart contract development. It's all about helping you to capture smart contract development. You need to get it, you understand? And get it and read it along, help yourself, improve yourself, and, become that Web3, developer that you really want to become matured at doing it. You understand? So I also have some consultancy services here, hourly classes and development services that are here. So do check it out as well. Okay. So with that said, let's jump into the tutorial now. Okay. So what should we do right now? I'm going to show you how this app works currently right now. I'm going to deploy this application to this network. Okay, so I'm not going to deploy it with any network. I'm just going to deploy it to the default one. Okay, so it's deployed to this with this contract address, and with the setup that I've already done, you can see the contract here. You can see the address right here. And what is happening is that I could read this particular contract address from this blockchain service and use it to interact with the network and all of that kind of stuff. Excuse me, can actually be ongoing there. So for example, now when I do yarn start and run this, and then we come to the browser, you see there's nothing on this network. It's completely blank right now. So we can add a question. I'm going to I'm going to just add something random, okay? So 1 point, it's not going to be something really glorious or anything, just to make sure we're fast. And all right, let's confirm this transaction. And you can see that this question is added and is here. So this is working, but what if I switch to another network right now? Let's say Mumbai. Okay, there's nothing there. Okay, I come to Sepolia, there's nothing there. So we want to make sure that we can switch to any one of those networks, and then we have those questions sitting right there for us. Okay, different questions, okay, that people can interact with from any platform that they want. So now let us come here and tweak these deployment script. We're going to tweak this Hardhat config. We're going to tweak this deployment script, and let me do that. And then we're going to tweak these 3 files. We're going to tweak them little by little so that it will enable us to make this sort of deployment Omini-chain. All right. So now I'm going to paste in some codes here to make things faster. I'm going to end this server, this one, and come here. So right now, you're taking a note about how this is structured. This basically just deploys a smart contract, and once it's deployed, it writes it to this particular file here. Okay, it writes the smart contract to this file. That is just basically what it does. But this time around, we want to update this script. Okay, now it's a little bit more, but the only thing that we're doing here is that we are saying that it should import paths, and we're going to be able to, in each deployment that we're running, okay, for example, when I say something like Hardhat, this deployment command, and then I say -- network, yarn Hardhat run script/deploy.js -- network, then I could select any network that I want, something like Sepolia network or Mumbai network, okay, by network and all of that. I want it that I could grab the name of the network, grab the chain ID, and actually perform some operations in the in this particular file. For example, this is not going to be the structure that we'll be using anymore. We're going to use a different structure to make things better for us when we're deploying it and when we're using it. So what should we do about that? So we're grabbing these 2 information, which we're going to get from when we are setting up another network here. This is just the local host. So when we're setting up another network, we're going to put up all of those things. Okay, so now we're also going to get the chain ID. All right, so for this part here, I'm only grabbing the location where I want to store the smart contract addresses. So this time around, I don't want to store it in this ABIs folder, because this ABIs folder is always regenerated, so it kind of deletes this contract every single time that I deploy, and I don't want that because it kind of ruins the purpose of what I want. So instead, I'm going to put this contract address inside of here in this format. You can see how this format is. These are different chains and they are contract addresses, different chains and contract addresses. So I want to do something like that in this particular. So I'm going to delete this. So coming back here, so I'm just targeting this particular folder. This is where this file is going to be created. Now I'm creating an empty address object, and I'm checking if in this particular part here, if there is this particular file exists in that location. If it does exist, I will first read the data, okay, and store it in these addresses, okay, before we start adding new chain deployment. So we want to do that so that we will not lose any kind of previous chain IDs that we've deployed to, or blockchain network that we deploy to, so that we will not lose information about their contract addresses. So it will always be retaining for every deployment that we're making. It's going to be capturing it using this particular methodology here. Okay, so this thing makes sure that we don't lose any chain ID as we are deploying to the network. Now, once that is done, because we read the previous information about, we concatenated it the new deployment here and actually write it to that address. That is what is happening here. And at the end, we are saying that this contract has been deployed to that network name. Okay, that's basically what we're doing for this place. Meanwhile, here we're gonna do some cool stuff here. For example, we want to include chain ID. Okay, so we're gonna have to include chain ID in all of these networks. So because they are kind of pretty important. All right. So for example, we want to say chain ID here. The chain ID we're using is a Hardhat chain ID, which is 31337. Okay, this is pretty important that we structure it this way. I'm going to also want to create more networks because I don't want to only deploy to the local host. I want to deploy to Sepolia network. And Sepolia network has its own chain ID. And how you can get chain IDs are pretty simple. You can get them by checking the network property. Let's say we add network here. We'll say add network, come to networks. For example, these Mumbai network that I added myself. These are the properties of this network that I added. You can do that yourself and you can see this is the chain ID. I'm just going to quickly just copy this and come here and call this Mumbai and just put the chain ID as this. And let's say account. Okay, it's going to be an array, and then I put in say accounts. Okay, it's going to be an array which I will put in what I want to deploy there. So I also want the Sepolia test network. Can do that here. Sepolia test network, and the chain ID for the Sepolia test network. You can see the chain ID by okay, look at Sepolia right here. So this is chain ID, so I'm going to copy that chain ID and I will come to this place and change the chain ID from this to that. So this will be the chain ID for the Sepolia test network. Now for the accounts that we need to add here, we're going to put them in this format. First of all, we're going to grab our deployer key. So this is an example, but this is my main the environment variable, but I'm using this example to show you how I'm going to structure it. So for example, now I will come here, come to this MetaMask, and okay, let's just come here, account. I come to, okay, like for example, this Sepolia test network or Mumbai. Okay, we switch account to an account that I have some ether on. So I have some ethers on this particular account right here. So I come here, right click on this button here and say account details, export private key. Then you have to enter your password and click confirm. Then a private key will be revealed to you. You copy that private key, whatever it is. It's going to be a very lengthy string. So you copy it, you come here, and then you put it as your deployer key. So it's going to be something really lengthy. So you have to add it. This is not exactly it. I'm just putting that here because I don't want to reveal my own key. Okay. So with that, you can, after doing that, you have to come and let's go to Infuria. Okay, you need to sign up for an Infuria account. You understand? So to be able to do that, once you sign up, for Infuria account, come to their dashboard, which is app.infuria.io/dashboard. Once you sign up, you can create a new API. Make sure you select a Web3 project and then you give it a name and then you create it. Once it is created, it's going to be listed as this. For example, I have this test RPC and this is my deployer key. I don't want to hide it because I'm just going to change it in the future. So I can select any one of this network. Why I think I have all this network? Because I added my debit card details. Although they don't charge me for any debit card stuff. I just put it there because that is one of their requirements for me to have access to other kinds of chains, such as the Polygon chain. Okay, so I'm under this is the URL that you need to copy, but this is mainnet. Okay, so you have to right click here, click on this drop down and click on Sepolia, copy this address, come here and then you paste it. All these that you'll be doing, you will have to do it in this .env file, not on this example. This is just for you to comprehend what I mean. All right. And then you also need to do something like you can copy Arbitrum, Optimism, whatever you want. But for this tutorial, you can copy near network. Okay, but for this particular one, I want to just copy Mumbai on the Polygon network. So I copy this, copy that, and make sure I come here and also put that. So if I want to deploy to many other network, I have to enlist all of their, URL right there. So that is how you do it. Then you save. Okay, once you've not done this, you have to return to this place. Thank God for this particular .env package that we used. The .env package enable us to do some environment variable usages, enables us to use environment variables. So what I'm going to do right now for this Sepolia test network, I want to this URL right here, I want to do process. This is how you grab this particular information, like this URL. This is how you grab it. Okay, you come like this, you say, I'm going to close this so that I won't open it by mistake. So I'll say, you say, this one is correct. This is for local host. But this one here, you say process.env, that is for environment. And then you do Sepolia. So this will give you access to the Sepolia URL, and this place you have to paste in your deployer key, okay, which is whatever key that you must have put here. So you're going to have to use this deployer key right like this. So the same thing goes for this particular account as well, okay, and I'm going to do this here. All right, so the same thing goes here. I'm going to come here, make sure I'm copying the Mumbai URL, and bam, right there. So I have about 3 chains now that I want to deploy this smart contract to, which include localhost, Sepolia test network, and Mumbai test network. So those are the ones that I want to deploy this to. So with this all done, one more thing that I need to fix is how I am interacting, how I'm grabbing this, this piece of data. For example, this is where I used to get the data. I used to get it from ABIs. Okay, but I'm not going to be using ABIs to grab these things anymore. I have to use a different method now to grab these addresses, because this address is not going to be living here. It's going to be living in this contract folder. So what we're going to do is we change these ABIs to contracts. Okay, after this, we're not going to allow this contract to be in this place. We're going to cut it here, and we're going to come here and paste it. First of all, I'm going to remove some unnecessary stuff. Just going to remove all of these if-else statements. Okay, so now we have this address, but this address system is going to be done a little bit quite differently. So there is a certain function that the Ethereum object comes with. So for example, I want to say const current chain. Okay, I could get current chain ID. Okay, I could say this Ethereum object dot network. There's this thing called network version. All right, that network version is going to return the current chain ID that is on MetaMask. So the current blockchain network that MetaMask is connected to will be returned. And now, because object allows me to do something like this, so what I'm saying is, for example, the way this is expressed right now in JavaScript can also be expressed like this. Okay, so, and not just like this, I could directly express it by passing a variable that contains this particular key if it's high it is. So I could just do something like this. So the chain ID, because how I'm storing those data is going to be based on their chain ID. So for example, now let's deploy this. Okay, so let's deploy it into the network and see how the first one is generated. So let's say we're not going to deploy it to any network. Let's just deploy it to the localhost network. By default, it will be deployed to that network. So run it, and you can see that it has been deployed to what? Localhost. So now you can see that this particular contract has been created, and it's based on the chain ID, and you can see the address. That is the what? Reference point here. So with this, let us start up this server first. Yarn, start. Okay, we'll run this, and all right, so let us see this. It seems to be, in good faith, but we need to move it to what? The localhost network. So you can see we are here, but not that. We want an account that has some ethers, which is this. Which is this. This has quite some ethers. So I could ask questions now. I could do some dummy thing, for the benefit of that, let's just bring in some real ethers, so some ring questions. So let's go to Stack Overflow and go to tags. We'll grab a good tags. Let's just grab from JavaScript so that we can get some questions. So I want to say popular question: how do we respond to an asynchronous call? So you can use that, put it here, and say the cost is, I have quite a lot of ethers on this particular account, so I could do something like 2.5 for the bounty, and this is a JS, and jQuery, so I'm just going to put those two tags there. And lastly, I could just to make it look real, just to keep it real, I'm going to just copy this here and paste it here. So then I would click submit and confirm. You can see that that is added. But the problem is when I switch to this particular network, Sepolia network, there is nothing there right now. So what I want to do is to make it accessible. Like when I switch to that network, it will also provide me the opportunity to do that. But because right now you can see that we have error on this because there is no, this is invalid contract address. There is no contract address in that particular one. So even though you refresh, you won't have it. If you come back here and switch to the local host, you see that that problem is resolved. Okay, so let's make this possible. Okay, to make it possible, I'm going to switch to Sepolia test network first. Then I'll come to my code. Now this time I'm going to quit this server. Let's deploy to this Sepolia test network. Okay, so we're going to say, not Mumbai, but we want to deploy to Sepolia first, and then we'll run this. And once that is successful, it's going to list it as the second address where this is now deployed on, online. All right, this one first, this is where it is. This is our own local blockchain server, but this one is going to be pushed to the internet, and then return also a result. You can see that the smart contract has been deployed toward the Sepolia test network. Fantastic. And you can see that it's added here according to its chain ID. You can see what the contract address. Man, isn't this some valuable lesson right here? So now you start this thing. Okay, let's see the problem that we used to have with that Sepolia test network. You can see that it's no longer there because as of now, we can now actually add some questions. So let's switch to an account that has some question, there's no errors here. So we can come here, look for a frequently asked question, let's copy this one and come here, ask the question, drop the topic. I don't have a lot of ethers here, so I'm going to do 0.04. I'm going to say JS, and Ajax. Let's just say like that, and then we can grab some, useful data and put here. So now let's submit this. Okay, and fantastic, and then I confirm the approval. Right now, because this is a live chain, okay, so it could take a while. These are all my ethers that I have for this particular account. So this could take some time for it to be processed, and once it is processed, it will be added to the chain. You can see that. So now let's see this thing. I'm going to switch to this localhost, you can see the question is different. How do you return the response? So now when I switch to Sepolia, you can see that the question is different, event binding. Isn't that beautiful? So one more thing, let's do for the Mumbai test network. Okay, so I have some ethers on this one, and let me make sure that I show you here that it's having the same error because there is no contract on this network with, so let's put that contract there. I'm going to end this again. I'm going to say the same thing basically, okay, but this time the one that has Mumbai, and run this. Okay, because we've already made all the setups here, so it's going to use the deployer key and then the Mumbai URL to make all this deployment happen. And once that is successful, it's going to be listed here as one of the chains that you can interact with. You can see that we have all the chains together. This is a beautiful thing. This is the Mumbai chain right now. So with this, I could just do yarn start, and then we can have all this thing on every network. Wow. So you can see that. So let's ask a question right now and see what happens. So let's add this one. This one is talking about callback. So we're going to do this. We're going to say 0.06, and then we can say JS, callbacks. Okay. And let's just get some data, copy that, paste it here, submit, and then it's going to ask for approval, and then you save that, and then contract will be validated, and once it is validated, it's going to be added there, and then that is basically how you interact with make your smart contract or your DApp project to be Omini-chain, usable. You can see that this has been added, and right now when I switch to all the chains that have my smart contract, it will be responsive. This is what Sepolia test network, this is my localhost test network, this is what Mumbai test network. All of them are functional, and my answer to end platform is running on each one of them, without hassles. This is an amazing piece of work, and once you understand how to do this, it's going to really, really benefit you in your work. So I hope you got a ton of values from this tutorial tonight. So I expect you to do some really cool stuff like this in your own. So with that, I'm Darlington Gospel. I'm going to sign out basically, and I'm going to see you in the next tutorial. Make sure you look at our books, our courses, they are all around, and something new is coming to the platform. We're about to release DApp Mentors Academy, okay? So that is going to be coming soon. I will show you once it is out, but I'm just going to drop it there, okay? So with that, I'll say goodbye. Peace.